Hey guys, welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Got an episode of the Guides Network today. I think it's going to be one that some of you guys have been looking forward to. We've been getting requests and we've made a promise that we're going to continue to roll through the breakdown on how we go about using our electronics, how we set them up, and how we utilize them to catch more and bigger fish, especially throughout the summer months. So today we're going to continue on that path. We brought you the sonar, in-depth sonar video a couple weeks ago. Today we're going to go in-depth on down scan and side scan. So we're gonna roll by some bridge pilings and some rock riprap right here, and you'll see the rock riprap come up on your right. Now notice when I'm turning, the inside, wherever you turn, so right now I'm turning left, so the inside over here, that side skin is gonna get distorted. The view's not gonna be clear. But we're gonna roll by a couple bridge pilings and some rock riprap here and see what we can see. As I'm rolling by here, you can kind of see some concrete riprap. You can start to see just a few specks showing up. Those aren't much, but if you look at this speck over here, it actually has a shadow underneath it. That's important to note. If you look right here, there's some dots right around that first bridge piling right there that you're seeing. But if you look, you can see little white specks, and you can see shadows underneath those white specks. You can see a couple bridge pilings out here to my right as well. If you see these little specks with shadows on, these are all fish. So you can see all these little dots that have shadows behind them. Dot, shadow, dot, shadow, dot, shadow. That's a cluster of fish. And when you know it, right there, if we look on our downscan down here, look at what's sitting right next to that piling. So you've got this piling, and this is why these things work good using all of them together. Your sonar will tell you more about the depth and size of a fish. This right here, you got the piling right here, and if you look on downscan, you think, man, look at all those fish sitting right there at the base of that piling. But when you look, they're actually off to the side of it over here a little bit. This group of fish is this group of fish. This is just picking it up on the edge of its cone. This is picking up a true reading on where it is in relation to the side of your boat. So using all these tools together, it's very important to use every bit of information that these units will give you to draw the best picture. So now right there, you guys saw there was, several fish scattered around some of those pilings. So what we're gonna do right now is I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna talk to you guys. I'm actually gonna teach all the settings, and Dylan is going to try to catch some of those fish off those pilings for y'all. Okay, so here's my down scan and side scan screen. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is there's two different purposes for using down scan and side scan. The first one is to locate or identify fish. The other one is to locate and identify and educate yourself on different structures. And you're going to use it differently depending on what your main focus is. So let's say right now we're looking for fish. Well, I want my depth range to always be set on the same setting. That way the dots and the fish that I see, I'll always have a steady reference point, so I get used to knowing what's a big fish, what's a small fish, what's an in-between fish. I'm always looking at the same size fish, so I never have any doubt what I'm looking at because my depth range is not adjusting. If my depth range were set on auto, then when I'm in 5 foot of water, a 2-pounder will look much bigger than it does when I'm in 30 foot of water. I like 35 feet when I'm keeping my depth range steady for finding fish. The reason I like 35 feet is because the majority of stuff that we fish, especially in the summertime, is between 15 and 30 feet. Now, if I was going to scan for structure, I'd go ahead and put this on auto. If I was looking at structure, as I got shallower, D, what you doing up there, Hammer? What you got, Pods? You got a big one or a little one? Oh, that's a good fish. That's a good one. Nice fish, buddy. That's a nice one right there.
You found a fish on your down and side skin.
I did see it on the side skin.
So, I mean, it does make sense there.
If you're going to look at structure, I think that's better because you're really focusing on anything that you might see here on the bottom. Now, we're sitting dead still right now, so these pictures are not going to be crisp and clear. We'll show you some good images here in a minute. But if there was a tree down here that I was looking at, or a brush pile, or an old underwater bridge, or a roadbed, or anything that I was looking at, the closer I get to it, the easier it's going to be to see. So if my depth, if I'm looking at mainly structure, as my depth auto adjusts, then I'll get a better look at it. Now also, if you are scanning deep water and you see something that you want to take a better look at, you just simply put an icon on it and then zoom in. and you can zoom way, way, way in. All right, on your frequency, it's going to give you the option between 455 kilohertz, 800 kilohertz. Guys, 455 kilohertz is the only one you'll ever need for bass fishing. You don't ever need to worry about the 800 kilohertz for bass fishing needs. Okay, so let's go into advanced. In advanced, a couple different things here. Surface clarity, if you guys watch the sonar video, you know that I prefer to run surface clarity on low. My theory on looking for things on here is these units are very advanced. They're set up basically ready to go when you get them. The main reason that I go with low on all my surface clarity, noise rejection on sonar, all that stuff is because these graphs are so good. They will pick up minuscule things in the water that are really truly irrelevant to what I'm doing and how I'm fishing. So that being said, I wanted to take some of that minuscule stuff out. In these East Texas lakes, we have a lot of silt in the water, a lot of microorganisms, very fertile water. So I wanted to take that stuff out. That's why I turn my surface clarity on low. Clears it up for anything that I might see right up here in the top of the water column. It's going to give me a much clearer view of that with surface clarity on low. That brings us to flip left and right. Now all flip left and right is going to do is simply going to change which side you're looking at on your side scan. Now I have a special bracket on my transducer for my down scan and side scan. It's a hard metal bracket that I installed, and it protects my transducer from when I idle and bump into trees and such as that on all these heavily wooded East Texas lakes like Lake Fork. So therefore my transducer actually got mounted backwards to fit into that bracket, so I have flip left and right on. And all it does is take the image that the transducer is giving you and changes which side you view it on your graph. The easy way to tell if it's correct or not is to just drive by something and look. Like if you drive by this bridge pollen right here, okay, and you know that bridge pollen's on your right. Well, if it shows up over here on this side of your screen, then you need to turn on your flip left and right. The other way to do it, the other way to know is if you look at where the cord comes out of your transducer. If your cord is coming out of the front of your transducer, so your transducer's mounted off the back of your boat, if that cord comes out of the boat side, the front side of it, then you don't need flip left and right on. It should be correct. If that cord is coming out of the rear of your transducer, the cord is behind your transducer where it comes out, then you need to use flip left and right. The bracket that I use made me mount it like that, so I have flip left and right turned on. Range lines, I just never use this. It's just not that hard for me to look over here and read my numbers. And that's all it does is give you a line across the screen so you can see exactly what depth it is even when it's over here. But it's going to come across over here first. It's just kind of an irrelevant deal to me. All right, preview off. So what preview does, and I don't normally set it off, I put it on cursor only. So what preview does, and I'll turn it on always so you can see, preview is going to show you where you can scroll back to. So if I want to scroll back, see that little box moving across the top of my screen right there? As I scroll back through here, all preview is doing is giving me a thin stripe showing me what I've already gone past and what I can scroll back and view again. I do it on cursor only. When I put my cursor on the screen, it'll bring my preview up. When I take my cursor off, clear cursor, the preview goes away. So the only time I need to know how far back I can scroll and look at something is when I got something highlighted that I want to look at, and now I can see where I am in the process up here. Okay, let's talk about contrast. Contrast, okay guys, contrast is just like sensitivity on your sonar. For down scan and side scan, contrast is your sensitivity setting. So as you can see, if you flip this thing way up, the image is going to get too hot, it's going to be hard to distinguish anything. Flip it way down, the image is going to get dull, it's going to be hard to distinguish everything. Like we said on the sonar, these things come out of the box really good. Like this auto contrast is really good. I actually like to take and turn my contrast down 2 notches. The reason I do that is when I'm looking on side scan, we'll show you some fish images here in a minute, but a fish will show up as kind of a white dot out here with a shadow underneath it. I actually turn my contrast down because if I see a white dot, I want it to be a good fish, not a tiny little insignificant fish. So when I turn that contrast down, some of those smaller white dots are not going to show up as good, and only the substantial size fish life will show up on A-2 for me. So that's how I do it. I just turn the contrast down a couple notches to kind of eliminate some of those insignificant sources of life that I might pick up on my side imaging otherwise. Also, when you get over you can really play with contrast really well. When you get over the top of trees, if you got some trees on your down scan, it's really good to take your contrast and look at it and just kind of scroll it up, scroll it down, and just move it a little bit here and there and kind of find, even get precise and just hit the plus and minus and kind of find what works best for you. Pallet, I really like Pallet 5. Pallet 5 seems to highlight, it has the best contrast in my opinion for me. It shows the structure extremely well. It shows fish extremely well. Sometimes the fish can be a little harder to pick up because they're white and part of this shows up as white. A lot of people like Pallet 9 as well. I just have always liked Pallet 5 the best. It's really a personal preference deal. Get you another one, hand? Boy, that old side image didn't lie to you, did it, D? Oh, that's another nice one. Atta boy. There you go. Pods, that's a big one. Look at there, boy. Now in view, guys, it's just telling you what you're looking at. You're viewing down, you're viewing left and right. You can switch to left only or right only. I do that sometimes when I'm going down one piece of structure that's all on one side of the boat. I'll zoom in to get a better look when I'm scanning for structure. But when I'm looking for fish, I always want to keep things in the same range. So, you know, kind of the width that I like to look at is 60 feet. I think if 60 feet is 3 boat lengths, that's a good cast away from the boat. So I really like to look at 60 feet. Now, one thing you'll notice is when you're deeper than 20 foot of water, okay, you're only actually looking at 40. So let's say that this ground was right here at 20 foot. You're actually only looking 40 feet to your right and 40 feet to your left right here. You're not looking at true 60 because however much space this takes up, that gets taken up on both sides on your side scan. So kind of need to think about that. So if you want to view 60 feet out and you're in 20 foot of water, then you need to scroll out to 80 feet. Now I'm viewing 60 feet of ground. I like viewing 60 feet of ground. The main thing is I want to always leave it, okay, on the same setting. That way the dots, the fish, are always the same size. I can become familiar with what is a big fish and what is a small fish. All right, guys, that's it for the settings. That's how we set them up. Now let's go idle around, see if we can't find a few fish, a few pieces of structure to show you guys how we identify things. All right, so we're gonna try to get in a little bit of scattered timber and show you guys. You can see a tree right here sticking up. Well, you can see a laydown just plain as day right there. That shows up really, really good. If you really want to get a close look at it, you can get on here and zoom in on it. And boy, you can see every curve. I mean, you can see where the root system was. Like, you can see everything about that tree when you zoom in. So
is that the shadow of the tree?
Yeah, and right here is a tree that's just standing straight up and down, but the dead giveaway is this long shadow coming off it. You can see, you know, clearly that is a tree. Got a little creek channel right there, as you guys can see. Here's an interesting shot on side imaging. If you guys can look, going right and left, see that dark shadow? Well, that's that creek channel right there that you're seeing down at the bottom on my down scan. You can see exactly how the creek channel runs. So if it made a bend right here, you'd be able to pick it up real well. Here's another one laid down. Here's another one laid down. Let's zoom in on this and see what we got. Looks like it's a little piece of a tree kind of laid over there. All right, now here's a good opportunity for us to play with our contrast. So let's go in here, let's freeze on this spot, let's go to contrast. And let's turn the contrast up. See right there, you actually get a better picture of that with the contrast turned way up because it's way out on the edge. So that's a prime example of always play with your contrast because we got a much better image of kind of this laid over tree. And it looks like may even have some fish hanging around on it as we turn the contrast up. So as you guys can see, the detail that these things will show you, I mean, this is not much that we're looking at. These are little subtle things. They're not just easy to go out and pick up on. A small laydown that's hugging the bottom, something like that, is very subtle, very difficult to pick up for people that just aren't used to really dialing in their electronics. But as you can see, we were able to spot small fish, we were able to spot rocks, bridge pylons from 60, 80 feet away, even small laydowns like we said. So get these things dialed in, mainly get used to looking at them, start getting used to identifying the difference between fish and structure. Look for those white dots, little cotton balls, and the shadows underneath them. That'll be kind of your dead giveaway that those are fish. Well, hey guys, we sure appreciate you watching the down scan and side scan settings video. Man, I hope this helps you. How about Mr. Dylan showing you guys the real deal? We saw some fish sitting next to that bridge pylon. We got up under that bridge. I started talking to you guys about settings, and this joker's up there just pulling them in. These electronics do not lie to you. I cannot express how important it is to get good with your electronics. They can help you so much. You would not believe, once you get dialed in, how easy it can be sometimes. It can be that easy. You roll up, there's a picture of a fish, you throw in there, you start catching them. So definitely worth an investment in your time to get used to your electronics and get good with them. Hey, like we say, guys, thanks for watching. Please go check out our fine sponsor, 6centsfishing.com. Hey, if you go over there to order anything, be sure you punch in that code, Your Lake Fork Guide. You'll get a 10% discount on all orders. Rumor has it They got some new soft plastic, stick baits, finesse worms, swim bait. Like, there's some stuff going on over there. Y'all might need to go check out and place an order. When you do, punch in that code, get that discount. Also want to thank Amphibia Eye Gear, which you can purchase at yourlakefortguide.com, and Lew's Fishing Reels, which I depend on every single day to make my living, to put my customers on fish. They hold up, they're durable, they cast amazing, they can handle all skill levels anglers with those reels. They're so good. I cannot recommend Lew's reels enough. I depend on them every day to make my living, so go check out Lew's Fishing as well. That's gonna do it. There's a lot of links down there in the description for you guys to get to click. So y'all get to clicking, we'll get back to fishing, and we'll see you next time right here on Your Lake Fort Guide.